Okay, let's get on. Sometimes I think I should do these live. Might be a bit easier. Okay, here is Eurodollar. This is Enda here from bowheads.org. I'm going to do the weekend video, which I haven't done again for a while, but it's summertime, so anyone with kids would recognize and take my apology. Bowheads.org. Check out bowheads.org if you if the website's working. I'm changing to email delivery for nightly updates, so you will get it straight to your inbox. So it's nightly Elliott updates straight to your inbox, not on the website anymore. Okay, so you can join the mailing list anyway, and if you fancy nightly Elliott updates, if you like what I do, check out bullwebs.org. Okay, here we go. This is Eurodollar. The decline continues. I'll go to the daily count here and I'll show you what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this is an A, B, C, possibly a C. Obviously, you could still count this as the top of wave one. We did retrace back above the previous B wave high. We actually extended, so the initial decline off that wave one, I don't think was large enough. It's just not large enough, I think, to warrant the second wave. I don't think it even reached 38%. The 50% is down around 108 or so. So I have been kind of expecting around that for a while, but I suppose the minimum target would be that wave A low there, so about 110. So the next band of flat correction, wave 2, is what I'm looking at. Here's the wave 4-hour count. You can see that's the wave 1 top, 3 down in A. I think it's 3 up in B, and then possibly 3 down in C. So it could be a complex correction, so a triple 3. So it could be an A, B, C down in wave C also. And that's what I'm running with at the moment. We do have it's definitely a 3-wave pattern. It's not an impulsive wave. It's not a 5-wave pattern. So it's possibly a 3, and then maybe a triangle, possibly. I don't exactly know. It's hard to actually to parse that out, to be honest. At that point, I think I was just saying, as long as it keeps going down, we're either in wave 1 or wave A. So we seem to have a reversal this week. It's possibly wave B. So we in this scenario, we have started wave C down. So this could be wave 1 and 2 of C, and that would result in a third wave decline, probably back towards about 114 in wave C once we're done. If wave C equals wave A, that'll give us 114.50. So if A equals C, brings us down to 114.50, and then from there we'd look for a correction higher in wave B, and then wave C later. So at the moment I'm looking at an A, B, C pattern down in wave C. So it's either a running flat or an expanded flat, but it's a triple 3 expanded flat, so it's a complex expanded flat. Now, if you can swallow all that, there are still, alternate counts that could be levied against this here, but at the moment, as long as this kind of corrective move lower continues, then this wave count will continue. And towards 114, 114.50, that kind of area in wave A. So that's what we'll be looking for next week. Okay, let's move on to cable. That wave 1 top was called out, I think, in the last video. We more or less tagged the upper trend line there of an ending diagonal, or it might be just a wedge, an ending wedge. We basically tagged the upper trend line there of that compressing action as wave 5 continued higher, the internal waves compressed, or the range contracted, and we got that kind of wedge pattern. We tagged the upper line, and then we reversed quickly out of that. So now we've fallen out of the wedge and you see that rising channel there. We've broken below the rising channel of wave 1 green, and now we're kind of holding below that at the moment. So the turn into wave A of 2 is pretty solid at the moment. Here's the hourly count. I'm looking at a 3-wave decline in wave A, and I don't think we're there yet, to be quite honest. We've got 3 down in A, 3 up in B, and then kind of an ongoing 5-wave pattern lower into wave C, I think. The idea being that either wave 4 is done or it's still in play here. We bounced to the upper trend line of the declining channel again today. So, and rejected it, must add. So I still think that this wave C is in play to complete wave A. So I would like to see it drop below 133.65 kind of area. And I think I'm about to sneeze, to be honest. I'll keep going until it happens. Okay, excuse me. Okay, that's cable. Early next week, I'd like to see a completion of wave C, and that'll complete wave A in blue, and then we turn higher into wave B. So a similar pattern, actually, to euro dollar, as you would expect. Okay, so dollar yen. The triangle that I was looking at previously for a 4th wave has been broken. So the possibility here that wave C and wave 2 is done has risen. I'm going to show you that, in the shorter term chart here, I'm going to show you that it's not the most ideal looking pattern, but for the moment, it looks like we have an impulsive building off the low in dollar yen. Okay, let's go to 4-hour count. And that would be, in dollar yen, that would be an extended rally in a 3rd wave. Now, this would be wave 3 of 5 of 3. And there is potential at least to break 160, or 162 actually at the high of wave 1. But if wave 3, let's get a grid on that. If wave 3 equals wave 1, which you would expect it to do, then we have a target at about 175 for dollar yen. So, that's a long way up. If this is a 3rd wave of wave 5. Now, there's lots of caveats on that, but for the moment, it's kind of where I'm looking. Okay. The action off the low, I had thought was a contraction triangle, and until this point here last week, that was until the 9th, that was still very viable, the most viable wave count, and you'll see why in a second. You had this contracting range, we had a tag more or less of the upper trend line, and we had a reversal, but we've broken out about that, the two previous highs now, and the general let's say thrust of the internal pattern here is to the upside. The pattern is beginning to look more impulsive to the upside than not. So that's kind of where I'm sticking at the moment. We've switched to a possible 3rd of wave 1. So this could be wave 3 of 1. I'll show you that wave 1 now. That'll be wave 3 of 1 of 3. Now, again, to begin this move, there was an expanding wedge. That was wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wave 1, a running flat correction, wave 2, and now a standard 5-wave pattern higher in wave 1, and 2 is what I'm looking for right now. So that'll be wave 1 up, and an ABC pattern in wave 2, if that plays out. I don't think we have enough to show for a 2nd wave correction yet. I was expecting a break below 146.90, probably somewhere down between 146 and 145. for wave 2 to complete. That would bring us down towards the 50% retracement. I'm not entirely sure whether that will happen right now, but it hasn't been ruled out yet. So I'm sticking with that idea that we run lower in wave C and then turn higher into wave 3 of that'd be wave 3 of 1. So we have wave 3 of 1 underway. I'm looking for wave 1 and 2 of that third wave, and then it would be wave 3 of 3. So it'd be a reasonably substantial rally, I think, and I think that will most likely coincide with a rally in US bonds. I think we have probably reached an area where US bonds are becoming stupidly undervalued. Just ridiculously undervalued, to the point where I think, people would be stupid not to look at them right now. Okay. Next week, I would look for this second wave to complete. Hopefully we get a drop below that wave A low, that 146.90 level, in wave 2, and then turn higher into wave 3. So next week, I think before the end of the week, we will see a substantial rally in dollar yen. Okay, let's move on. The Dow is still holding below the highs. So that alternate count, I suppose, is still viable for a fifth wave, but the main count is still viable also. So this could be a B wave top, looking for a wave C. This could also still be a wave 1 and 2. I can't rule that out at all. That could still be wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down in wave 1, an A, B, C up in wave 2. So it could be a 1, 2, it could be an A, B. The only way to prove this alternate count here is if we break to a new high. So let's see how that goes. Right. If the main count is correct, then we turn lower into wave C, and we run lower for a significant period of time, I think. Now, the forward count, nothing really to tell from that. The pattern off the low, that wave A low, is still 3 waves up in A, 3 down in B, and then a possible 5-wave pattern in wave C. And we go to the hourly count. The action in the last week or 10 days has been, sideways to down. So it could be a series of 1-2s. It could be 1, 2, 1, 2. The market rallied to that upper trend channel. That's what I was talking about last night, actually, that upper trend channel line. We tagged that upper line, and then we reversed today. So we'll see what the rest of the day brings. It's now, coming up to lunchtime over New York. So it's about 1 o'clock New York time. It's Friday evening. Don't know if there'll be much else to happen for the rest of the day today. I remember in London, it was around lunchtime, they just start hitting the pubs and then abandon the city for the weekend. So here we go. This is a series of 1-2s to the downside. If it is, I haven't actually labeled it yet, but if it is, then this downward sloping trend line will hold, and then next week we'll break down below the trend channel again, but we'll see. I'm not, I can't promise anything. It is the future that I'm talking about here, and it's quite difficult to parse, to be honest. So let's see how this develops. It's still encouraging, the fact that we haven't broken out to a new all-time high like happened in the S&P, but this may be a canary in the coal mine here. This may be the signal that has been a long time waiting. Let's see what happens. Okay, let's move on to gold. Let's shift on these charts here. Okay, here's the daily count in gold. This third wave top has been coming, for a while. We're still churning along below the top, but the bias is still to the downside, I think. So I'm looking for overall wave A decline back towards 2500 as part of a larger fourth wave. So ABC down in wave 4. Previous fourth wave at one lesser degree lies at 2500, so wave A down should push towards 2500. That's the logic behind that. The initial decline here has been 3 down in A, 3 up in B, possibly, and this could be wave 1 and 2 to begin wave C of A. And that'll be wave C of A of A. So we get that larger wave A in here. So depending on this, on whether this count is correct, that's what's operating here. I think you could probably say that as long as this downward sloping trend line holds, then we are in play for this this next leg down in gold. I do like the fact that there's nothing but gold advertisement. Have you watched any podcasts lately? Podcast world is full of your IRA. Make sure that you IRA has different connotations in Ireland than it does in the US. So nobody ever admitted to being a member of an IRA in Ireland. Okay, that might be an inside joke there. It was the Irish Republican Army way back when. Anyway, the podcast world is full. It's just chock full of ads. Twitter is chock full of ads of gold. YouTube spitting out gold ads at you all the time. It's just ads for gold everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. My local paper was telling people, the local free paper was telling us why we should be buying gold. That's the local free, basically property advertisement paper, was telling people why they should be buying gold. Okay. I'm sorry, but that just screams overbought, oversaturated within the society. Okay, here's the hourly count. Possible 5 down. We shall see on that one. ABC up in wave 2. And the action off that high is, less than desired at the moment, because we seem to be just bumbling along below that wave 2 high. But as long as we do continue to bumble along below that wave 2 high, I'm going to look for wave 1 of 3 to come our way. I do like the 3 waves up pattern here. We could be seeing a larger 3 wave pattern here, but the initial decline here last week does indicate that at least there is some bias to the downside still, bubbling underneath this here. Well, let's see. I mean, if we break that wave B low here at 32.80, that's kind of what I've been looking for in wave 1. We shall see how that kind of spills out next week. So as long as that wave 2 high holds and we continue our way lower into 32.80, then this count is ongoing and I think more viable as it goes. Okay, let's move on. Here's crude oil. I have been looking at this expanding wedge pattern in wave 5 of C. So in wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and now wave 5 underway. So if that's wave A of 5, then we're on wave B of 5, and then we should see wave C of 5. Here is the 4-hour count. You can see that wave 4 top, wave A down, wave B up, and then wave C should come our way. Wave C should be well down here somewhere. If we stay with the daily count here, wave C should probably tag that lower trend line down around $40 somewhere, if this is correct. I have no reason to doubt this count at the moment. So let's see how that develops. Initially this week we seem to have another, if we have wave B complete, then we have another impulse lower high. You can see that lower high built off that wave B top. You can see on the hourly count here, so wave A down, 3 up in A of B, 3 down in B, and then 3 up in C. So that was a complex correction higher as well within the channel, tagged the upper trend channel line, and then basically sped out to the downside again. Possible wave 1, and then ABC up into today's or this morning's high in wave 2. We're kind of up above where I was expecting, but the rejection of the high today this afternoon seems to be indicating that this count is still in vogue, and we should probably head down into wave 1 of 3. There are other ways that we could parse this out to allow for a higher wave B, and I wouldn't be against that either. I was looking for initially in wave B, I was looking for like somewhere up around $70 to complete. Again, we'll see. We'll see. For the moment, this count is working, and today the action seems to be pointing this way again. So wave 1 of 3 of C. This is an exciting one if it happens, because this acceleration lower will be it'll be something akin to what happened in wave A, and we'll probably be back down towards talking about $50 $55 oil before this third wave is done. If it's correct, that's where we're going. Okay, the S&P, we're way out to a new high in wave. Could still call it wave B, but it could be a new top in wave 5 also. The fact that we didn't cross over the previous wave A still allows for wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if that's the way we're going to view it, and we could, then you see how we've come up to meet that upper trend channel line again. If that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, then this would be a fifth wave, and we've just tagged the upper trend channel line. Okay, now if it's a B wave, if it's an expanded flat correction B wave in wave A, then we're heading lower into wave C, just like in the Dow. The pattern the last week or so has been an expanded flat correction, wave 4, possible new high in wave 5 underway. We've just been dancing around this channel line, this trend line here for the last few weeks, oscillating back and forward as we rise higher. Let's hope that's the fifth wave. We can finally say goodbye to the idiocy here. It is just the tech stocks that are keeping this market afloat. So let's see how that goes. We move on to silver. The high in silver right now, I think, is a third of 5. That's what I'm looking at the moment. This is B wave 3 of 5 of C. At the moment, we look to have this third wave complete, and we are moving lower, a possible ABC pattern in wave 4. That'll be the 4-hour alternate count. I think I did actually mention that to you guys during the week in the nightly updates. If you view this top as the completion of wave 3, which you can, because that could be wave 1, 2, 3, 4, probably triangle 4 here, and then 5 to a new high. So that's 5 waves up in wave 3, and then you'll be looking for 3 waves down in wave 4. There is a possibility that we have one more high to complete wave 3, and I have been kind of playing with that idea in my head for the last few days. I think last night I mentioned that the action off this week's low still looks to be in 3 waves. So, I mean, we could be shifting. We could be shifting trend here. This could be a trend shift here off that previous high. So we could be complete in wave 5 there as an alternate. Let's get that in there. Really depends on what happens early next week now. I'm not against this anyway, because the longer term count would allow for that, but it would rule out the current short term count here. It would probably suggest that we have a larger triangle here. So it'd be like wave A, wave B, wave C, wave D, and E. So larger oscillation to start, very tight oscillation to complete, and then a final blowout in wave 5. So it'll be easy enough to prove that. If we break down again, I was mentioning this wave 3 shoulder high, so 37.30. If that level breaks, I think then we switch to the idea that wave 5 is already done, and we're heading down in a larger correction in wave 4 green. Okay, I think that's that. If you like what I do, head over to bullwebs.org, check out the membership options. If you do join, I'll add you on to the nightly update email list. For all of you who are receiving the new emails. Thank you for your patience over the last while as I've been rolling out this change in the service. And obviously, if you miss any of those emails, they could be sent to your trash folder, your spam folder, because they're mass emails. So your spam may detect it and just throw it in there. So check in there if you do miss if it disappears from your main inbox. For the moment, everything seems to be going okay. Send me, drop a message, drop a comment on the video. I'd like to hear what you think. And send me an email if you're interested. And we'll see you next week for next week's update. If you're here this long, I usually end every weekly update with the good news of salvation, and that is, that we are beings with a final point in our future. We have a kind of as you grow older, you could say that our lives are kind of conical shaped, and we are moving towards the tip, the point, the precipice of our physical existence. So many of us reach that point quite early, and it seems to be more and more people seem to be reaching that point quite early in their lives these days. Some of us get blessed with long lives, and kind of problem with that is the longer you live in one form of being, the less you kind of, or you tend to discount other forms of being or eternity itself. But God said we have eternity written in our hearts, so it's hard to discount it. It should be a haunting, for those of you who have never thought about it before, it should be kind of a haunting scenario for you to close your eyes your last times, or maybe you don't even get a chance to close your eyes. Maybe you're hit by a bus and or a train, like a friend of mine was, and you don't get a chance to close your eyes. You're just taken, and then you see you're floating over your own body, and you wonder what the hell happened. We have eternity written in our souls, and if you sit for a moment and contemplate your creation around you, it shouldn't exist. None of this should exist. Most people kind of default to the idea that evolution has brought us to this point, and there was the Big Bang, and proteins and primordial goo, and suddenly here we are all walking around with thoughts and sentient beings with symmetry and perfect conditions on a lonely rock spinning in space. The likelihood of that is next to 0.0000. It's zero. It's negligible. It's zero. That's the likelihood of it. So science itself would disprove the idea. Statistics would disprove the idea of Big Bang heading towards primordial ooze and walking apes. The reality is that we are created. How do I know that? Because the creation speaks of the creator. The fact that there is a creation speaks of the creator. If you look at a painting, you know that someone painted that. If you look at a building, you know that someone built it. If you look at a roadway or an interstate highway, you know that someone built that. It didn't just appear one day. If the same logic and reason you apply to that should be applied to nature around you. If you see a grizzly bear, which I hope you don't see it too closely, you should know that there was a creator. It should be just logic. And if there's a creator, then there's a creator for a grizzly bear, then there's a creator for you. And what does that creator want from you? And why do we live in an evil world? Well, the Bible explains it very simply. We fell. Our ancestors sinned. We could no longer have fellowship with God, our creator. We had to be outside. But God made a way. He himself came down, took a body. He was named salvation, Yeshua, Jesus. He lived the perfect life. He did not sin. He laid his life down as a propitiation for all of us, so that all who believe will come to a saving knowledge, have their sins paid for. And when that final point of your life comes, then you can rest easy because someone has already paid your debt. Someone has already paid your debt. The difference between biblical Christianity, that is, following the Messiah, the difference between that and religion is they're they're as far as east as west, because one is a religion that's you working your way up to God. You take Islam, you take, Hinduism, you're working your way through, through your good deeds, you're working your way back up to God, and you hope. Even rabbinic Judaism, you're working your way back up to God through your good deeds, because you're so good, aren't you? Who's good? Biblical Christianity is the only faith that puts their faith in God and not themselves. We put our faith in what He did, not what we did, because we're failures. All we can do is actually trust in God. And so we trust in what He did for us instead of what we could do for ourselves. And then we go forward in our lives and we try and live out our lives with that message at heart. And we try to tell other people that you don't have to. God doesn't want you to work your way up to Him. God wants you to yield to Him, to what He has done for you, to accept what He did for you. Through coming into this world, taking a body, like the Psalms say, a body you prepared for me. So He prepared a body for Himself. And in doing that, He became His own creation, lived the perfect life and died, and offers you that sacrifice. So, there you go. I think I've given an exposition of what we call the gospel, the good news. You don't do it for yourself, trust in what God did for you. And then live your life. And that's that. Until next week, or until tonight, see you in the email. Bye-bye.